Get your hands off that kayak before I call the cops. The voice cut through the October air like a whip crack. I spun around, paddle still in hand, and there she stood, 50 feet away, storming across what used to be my beach. Crimson blazer, sharp as a knife blade, black silk underneath, plunging neckline that said power before she ever opened her mouth. Matching pencil skirt, red heels, clicking gravel like a countdown clock. This is private HOA property, she snapped, voice cold enough to freeze gasoline. And you're trespassing. My jaw tightened. Lady, I'm standing on my own goddamn land. Her laugh was sharp, vicious. She pulled a folded document from her designer clutch with the flourish of someone about to win. Your land? She snapped it open. According to Maricopa County records, Robert Caldwell died in a vehicle collision 16 months ago. She thrust the paper toward my face like a knife. So, unless you're a ghost, you need to leave. The world stopped. I snatched the document. There it was, my name, my birth date of death, the 14th of July, 2023. Robert James Caldwell, deceased. That's impossible, I whispered. I'm not security, she barked into her phone, cutting me off. Those cold eyes never left mine. Hostile trespasser at Sunset Cove, the one claiming to be the dead owner, hurry. Two guards in black polos materialized from behind the bathhouse. Behind them, afternoon sun glinted off a bronze plaque mounted on Riverstone. This sanctuary lovingly restored in memory of Robert J. Caldwell, 1978 to 2023. My sanctuary. My death date. My name carved into a lie I never agreed to. The woman smiled, red lips curving like a blade. I'm Victoria Pierce, HOA president, and you're about to learn what happens when dead men try to come home. I looked at her, at the guards, at my stolen beach, at strangers splashing in water I'd protected for 8 years. You made one mistake, I said quietly. She raised one perfectly sculpted eyebrow. And what's that? You assumed I'd stay buried. I bought this land 8 years ago for one reason: peace. 23 years with the EPA congressional hearings, regulatory battles, developers who treated watersheds like garbage dumps had hollowed me out. So when my federal pension cleared, I drove north until Phoenix disappeared in the rearview mirror, until saguaros gave way to juniper, until I found it. A 32-acre spring-fed lake in the Prescott foothills, untouched, perfect, mine. The property came with a collapsing adobe ruin, but the bones were good. I rebuilt it myself, every stone, every beam, every drainage system designed with my own hands. Mornings there felt like waking inside a prayer. Mist on glassy water, herons stalking the shallows, coffee on the porch while the Bradshaw Mountains turned copper in the sunrise. It was the first place that ever felt completely mine. Then they came. The HOA, Desert Ridge Estates, sat 3/4 of a mile south. Cookie-cutter stucco homes, identical landscaping, violation notices if your trash cans were visible from the street. My land predated their covenants by 40 years. I didn't belong to them, but Victoria Pierce, their president, didn't see it that way. She showed up 3 weeks after I'd moved in. Designer sunglasses. Crisp voice. The kind of posture that suggested she'd never been told no in her life. Mr. Caldwell, I wanted to welcome you to the area. I was knee-deep in a drainage trench. Didn't stop digging. Appreciate it. But I'm not part of the HOA. Her smile never wavered. Still, we'd love to foster good neighbor relations. I nodded once. Went back to my trench. She left. But something in that smile stuck with me, the way a predator's eyes linger before it strikes. Over the next months, I'd catch glimpses. A black Mercedes crawling my property line. A drone hovering too long over my shoreline. Once, a man with a clipboard taking measurements at my fence line, dark geometric tattoo wrapped around his forearm. Can I help you? I called out. He jolted like I'd caught him stealing. Stammered something about boundary verification, then disappeared into an unmarked contractor truck. Small things, forgettable things. Looking back, those were the first tremors before the earthquake. The accident happened on a Thursday. Cold drizzle, back roads slick with rain. I was heading home from the hardware store, Dwight Yoakam humming on the radio, thinking I needed to call my sister Charlotte about her daughter's college applications. Then headlights too bright, too close, coming around a blind curve too fast. The truck didn't stay in its lane. It drifted slow, deliberate, straight toward me. I eased right. The truck followed. For half a second, our headlights aligned. I saw him broad shoulders, baseball cap, and something that kicked my instincts like a mule. A dark geometric tattoo on his left forearm. The same man who'd been surveying my property. Then he hit me. Metal screamed. Glass exploded. White hot pain shot through my skull. Then nothing. When consciousness returned slow, disorienting, drowning, I opened eyes to white ceiling tiles and the smell of disinfectant. A doctor leaned into view. "Mr. Doe, can you hear me? Mr. Doe, not Caldwell, not Robert. My wallet had been thrown from the vehicle. My phone shattered, my face swollen beyond recognition. So they labeled me the way protocol dictates. John Doe. Adult male, mid-40s. Traumatic brain injury," the doctor explained clinically. "Fractured pelvis, 6 broken ribs, punctured lung. You were in a coma for 14 months. 14 months. Over a year stolen. And while I lay nameless in a hospital bed, they made their move. A man named Trevor Moss, the same man with the tattoo, walked into the county clerk's office, claimed to be a social worker, filed a death report. Subject, Robert J. Caldwell. Fatal trauma on impact. Remains unrecoverable. Not one word was true, but it was enough. Enough to unlock a loophole. Emergency stewardship of abandoned property. Desert Ridge HOA seized my land while my sister Charlotte grieved a brother she thought was dead. They pressured her to sign temporary maintenance forms during her darkest moment. She thought she was protecting my legacy. She had no idea she was signing it away. By the time the hospital matched my fingerprints and called Charlotte with the impossible news, "Ma'am, we found him. He's alive," the damage was done. My land had been claimed, my locks changed, my lake transformed into a resort. They didn't just steal my home, they stole my death, and they built a paradise on my grave. Leaving rehab felt like stepping into someone else's life. 15 months is long enough for the world to forget you ever existed. I loaded my belongings into a rented Corolla and drove back. But the closer I got, the more something tightened in my chest, pressure building before thunder breaks. When I turned onto my private drive, everything changed. A new sign, Sunset Cove. Private access for Desert Ridge HOA, members only. A metal gate blocked my road. My keys useless, my access code erased. I walked in on foot, boots crunching gravel I'd laid myself. Solar lanterns lined the path like a runway. And then I saw it. My lake swallowed whole. White Adirondack chairs, market umbrellas, kayak racks, string lights, 2 massive gazebos built like wedding venues. It wasn't a lake anymore. It was a resort. Near the kayak stand, a young man in a yellow staff shirt laughed with customers. As he reached up, his sleeve slid back. There, the same dark geometric tattoo. The man who tried to kill me was working here. My hands curled into fists. This wasn't just theft. This was a crime scene. I headed toward my cabin. From outside, it looked intact, same roofline, same footprint. But every detail felt wrong. Vinyl wrapped around my cedar posts, cheap lattice replacing my handrail. The entire front repainted bland beige. I cupped my hands against the window. My furniture gone. My books vanished. On the mantel where my uncle's compass used to sit, someone had placed a framed photo of strangers. They hadn't just locked me out. They'd erased me. That's when I heard tires on gravel. A black Mercedes SUV rolled toward me with confidence. The back door opened. Victoria Pierce stepped out. This time I saw her fully crimson blazer worn open over black silk, plunging V-neck suggesting control and danger in equal measure, matching pencil skirt with a subtle slit, red heels clicking like a timer counting down, dark auburn hair in loose waves, red lips curved in something that wasn't quite a smile. 2 security guards flanked her like bodyguards protecting royalty. "Can I help you?" she asked, voice dripping false politeness. "What happened to my house?" She blinked slowly. "And you are?" "Robert Caldwell. This is my land." A shadow crossed her face. "Oh, that can't be." She opened her leather portfolio, flipped through documents with practiced ease. "This property is under Desert Ridge HOA stewardship. The previous owner is deceased." I stepped closer. "I'm standing right here." "Sir, you are trespassing." She didn't even blink. "If you don't leave, we will involve law enforcement." I looked at my lake, at strangers playing in water where I'd scattered my uncle's ashes. "I'm alive," I said quietly, "and I'm not going anywhere." Her smile faded. She lifted her phone. "Unit 3. We need county support. Trespasser. Refusing to vacate. Trespasser. On my own land." The guard stepped forward. "Sir, you need to step away from the residence." Before I could respond, a sheriff's cruiser crested the hill. 2 deputies climbed out. "Afternoon, folks." "What's going on?" Victoria walked toward them, heels clicking with confidence. "Deputy Garrett, thank you for coming. This man was found trespassing on HOA property. He refuses to leave." "Sir, what's your name?" "Robert Caldwell." The deputy checked his notebook, blinked. "Do you have identification?" "I lost everything in the accident." Victoria's smile widened as she handed over her portfolio. "I'm afraid that's outdated information. We submitted updated stewardship paperwork last year." The deputy flipped through. His face changed. "It says here the homeowner died from injuries sustained in a vehicle accident 15 months ago. That's a lie." I snapped. "I was in a coma." "Sir, you'll need to take that up with the county clerk. Right now, I have to treat this land as HOA jurisdiction." Something inside me cracked. "So I can't stay at my own house because of paperwork someone filed while I was unconscious?" The younger deputy stepped forward. "Sir, we need you to vacate until ownership can be verified. If you refuse, we'll detain you for trespassing." Victoria's voice dripped false concern. "Robert, this is for everyone's safety." "You seem confused." My hands shook, not from fear, from rage, sitting low in my gut. I looked at the porch I'd rebuilt, the door frame where I'd carved the completion date, the lake where my uncle taught me to fly fish. All of it stolen. "Fine," I said softly. "I'll go." Victoria smiled, victorious, adjusting that crimson blazer. "But listen closely." I stepped toward her until the deputies tensed. "I'm not done." Not by a long shot. For the first time, her expression slipped. Just a flicker. Fear. Because dead men don't come back. But I had. And I wasn't leaving for good. Just long enough to dig up every lie she'd buried. The next morning, I drove to the county clerk's office. The receptionist's fingers froze over her keyboard when I said my name. "Caldwell? As in Robert Caldwell?" "As in me," she typed slowly. Her face drained of color. "That can't be right." She turned the monitor slightly. "Owner, Desert Ridge Community Association. Previous owner status, deceased. Filed by Moss, Trevor D." My jaw clenched. "That's wrong." She lowered her voice. "I shouldn't say this, but that HOA pushes things hard. We've had complaints." "What do you know about Trevor Moss?" Her face went white. She shut the tab immediately, hands trembling. I can't. I could lose my job," which told me everything. Someone had leaned on this office hard enough to scare people into silence. I needed someone who wouldn't scare. Attorney Elena Rodriguez, former federal litigator, known for destroying fraud cases with surgical precision. Her office was above a sporting goods store. When I walked in, she took one look at me and said, "You look like a man with a storm behind him. I need help." I laid out everything. The Coma. the fake death certificate, the HOA takeover, the tattooed staffer, being thrown off my own land. She listened without interrupting, pen tapping slowly. First, she said calmly, "You're not crazy. Second, this is worse than you think." "How much worse?" "Fraudulent abandonment, false death notice, illegal property transfer, environmental violations. And if the man who hit you works for the HOA," she paused. "Potential attempted murder tied to a financial scheme." Cold ran down my spine. "They took everything, Elena." She leaned forward. "Then we take it back, piece by piece." She slid a form across the table. "Sign this. We start today." "What's our first move?" "We go back to the county clerk, this time with me. And this time, they'll talk." I met Charlotte at a roadside diner halfway to Sedona. When she walked in wearing veterinary scrubs, hair in a messy ponytail, she froze in the doorway. Then her breath caught and she covered her mouth. "Bobby." She held me so tight I could barely breathe. We sat. Her hands trembled. "Tell me what happened when I was gone," I said gently. "I didn't know you were alive. They told me you probably went into the creek." Her voice broke. "A county worker came 4 days after. He had a clipboard, a badge. He told me your truck was found empty, that they were searching for remains." "Did they find anything?" She shook her head. "Nothing. That's why I held hope." But then she swallowed hard. 1 week later, another man came. Nice suit. Polite. He said he was a social liaison. He had a tattoo, ugly black thing on his forearm. The same tattoo. He told me I needed to sign temporary authorization so your land wouldn't be seized. He kept saying it was protecting your legacy. My jaw tightened. "Did he pressure you?" "He didn't have to. You were missing." Tears pooled. And then Victoria came. My stomach turned. She came dressed like she was going to a luncheon. She said, Charlotte's voice trembled. "She said you didn't suffer, that you passed quickly." She even hugged me. She said, "He belonged to all of us." Something in me fractured. She told me signing the papers would prevent the county from seizing your land. That the HOA was helping. A tear ran down her cheek. I thought she was being kind, so I signed. I didn't read anything. I wrapped an arm around her. "Charlotte, you didn't fail me. You were hunted. They took advantage of your grief." She gripped my sleeve. "What happens now?" "Now I go after them. Every single one. They're going to drag me into this. Yes, but you're going to stand tall. You didn't steal anything. They tricked you." She nodded slowly. "I'll stand with you." She reached into her bag and pulled out a thick manila envelope. "Wait, there's something else." She placed it in my hands, heavy, stuffed with papers. I kept everything. Every letter Victoria sent. Every flyer. The HOA notices. That man's business card. Even the fake badge envelope. She pressed it into my hands. Something felt wrong. I didn't throw any of it away. I held the envelope. It felt like a weapon. "Charlotte, this is going to help us more than you know." She gave a bitter smile. "Kill them, legally, but take everything back." I slipped it into my jacket. "I'm going to take more than that." My phone buzzed. Text from Elena. "Got something big. Meet me as soon as possible." Game on. I drove straight to Elena's office. When I walked in, she wasn't alone. 2 people stood beside her. A woman in work boots and a faded water resources jacket. A man in a bomber jacket leaning against the wall like bad news was normal. "Robert," Elena said, "meet the reason the HOA should start writing obituaries." She gestured to the woman. "Dr. Sandra Kimball, environmental specialist." Sandra nodded curtly. "Your lake is screaming." Elena pointed to the man. "Marcus Webb, forensic auditor. Knows where every body is buried, financially speaking." Marcus lifted 2 fingers. "Sorry about your coma. Happens more than you'd think in HOA country. Show them what you brought," Elena said. I handed her Charlotte's envelope. The sound it made hitting the table was heavy, like a loaded gun. Elena dumped the contents. An avalanche spilled across the table. HOA letters, sympathy notices, glossy brochures, a fake badge, receipts, and a white business card with a phone number scrawled in blue ink. Sandra leaned forward. Marcus whistled. Elena picked up the badge. Counterfeit. Cheap, but enough to fool someone in shock. Sandra pulled out a test log. Your lake jumped to 9.2 NTU turbidity last month. I tried to flag it. The report was buried. By who? Supervisor Pruitt. Sandra unfolded aerial photos. They bulldozed your natural filtration system. Every kayak dragged across that sand is smothering the lake bottom. She pointed to a murky section. Runoff from electrical trenches, leaching chemicals into shallow water. What does that mean? Sandra looked me in the eye. Your lake is dying. Silence. Marcus held up an HOA invoice. 327 bags of sand paid by Copperstone Ventures LLC. He held up another sheet. Investment from a donor named Gerald Matthews. Elena frowned. He's dead, Marcus said. Died 3 years ago. Car accident. Fake badge. Fake stewardship. Fake donor. This wasn't sloppy fraud. This was organized crime. The name on the stewardship paperwork, Elena said. Trevor Moss. Charlotte said he had a wrist tattoo. Black geometric pattern. Same one I saw through my windshield the night of the crash. Elena reached for the business card. No name, just a handwritten number. Marcus typed it into his database. Within seconds, a mugshot appeared. Trevor D. Moss. Arrested 2019. Insurance fraud. Tattoo. Left forearm. Geometric tribal. Sloppy, Marcus said. I exhaled. That's him. The man who tried to kill me. Elena leaned back. Then we have motive, opportunity, and attempted murder. Marcus tapped another document. Plus money laundering, tax fraud, permit violations. I clenched my jaw. What's next? Elena stood. We do this by the book. No shortcuts. Sandra nodded. I'll run independent water samples. Get drone footage. Quietly. Marcus lifted his laptop. I'll track the money. Every board member's spending in the last 18 months. Elena turned to me. And you need to prepare yourself. For what? The truth. It's worse than you think. Because I don't believe this started with your coma. I believe you were targeted before. The room went still. That lake is worth a fortune, Sandra said. Your land was the keystone, Marcus added. Elena finished, and the man who tried to kill you didn't do it alone. This wasn't a takeover. This was a coordinated land grab. I stared at the evidence, the receipts, the fake badge, the mugshot, the tattoo. For the first time since the coma, I felt something solid. Purpose. Then let's burn their operation to the ground, I said quietly. Legally, but completely. Elena nodded. Good. Tomorrow, we hunt. Elena walked into Marcus's workspace that evening and tossed bank statements onto the bench. Found it. The transfer we needed. Marcus scanned the highlighted lines. $18,500 from Desert Ridge HOA to Copperstone Ventures, signed by T. Moss. Sandra looked up. When? 3 weeks before Robert's accident. My fists curled. That's not maintenance, Marcus said slowly. That's a retainer, a job, a hit, Sandra added. No one contradicted her. Sandra's tablet suddenly beeped. She froze. Oh, hell. She turned the screen toward us infrared drone feed over my lake. A truck, lights off, driving slowly past the shoreline. That camera alerts only after dusk, Sandra whispered. Someone is out there right now. Marcus grabbed his jacket. Elena grabbed her phone. I was already moving. We killed the headlights as soon as the dirt road started. Sandra's drone hovered ahead, screen glowing in her lap. There, by the bathhouse. A shadowy figure moved with purpose, setting something down. Sandra zoomed in. My stomach turned. Gasoline can, Marcus cursed. Elena whispered. He's destroying evidence. We abandoned the trucks and continued on foot. The chemical smell carried on the wind. I crouched behind a juniper. The figure stepped into moonlight. Jeans, dark hoodie, gloves, the black tattoo on his forearm. Trevor Moss. My pulse hammered. He emptied gasoline onto the wooden deck, then pulled out a lighter. "I'm recording," Sandra whispered. "Keep still." The drone captured everything. His face, his movements, the fuel. Moss flicked the lighter. The bathhouse exploded in flames, whoosh racing up the posts. Heat hit us instantly. Moss stepped back, admiring his work. Then he turned, staring straight toward us. Every muscle in my body coiled. I wanted to run at him, tackle him, ask him why, but Elena grabbed my arm. "Robert, no, we have him. We have everything. Let him run." Moss sprinted to his truck. Engine roared. Tires spit dirt. Gone. Sandra lowered the drone. Coward. Elena shook her head. Not a coward, a professional. And tonight, he made his first mistake. The flames grew higher. The bathhouse groaned and collapsed. I watched it burn, the thing they built on my stolen land turning to ash. Something cold settled inside me. Not anger, resolve. "Tomorrow," I said quietly, "we take this to the prosecutor." Elena nodded. "And after that?" I watched embers swirl into the night. "After that, we burn the entire HOA to the ground." Marcus grinned. "Legally, perfectly." Behind us, the bathhouse collapsed in sparks. Ahead, the night opened. Dark, dangerous, ready. For the first time since the coma, I felt fully awake. The fire marshal didn't need our footage to know it was arson. "Accelerant everywhere," he muttered in the ashes. Someone wanted this gone. Elena stepped closer. "We can give you a name and a face." Sandra handed him the USB. "You'll want to sit down." He didn't. He watched standing. When Moss's tattoo appeared on screen, the marshal's head snapped toward me. "You know him? He tried to kill me once." The marshal exhaled. "Looks like he just tried again." By noon, we were in the county prosecutor's office. Julia Brennan, the prosecutor, watched the footage, stone-faced. When the fireball erupted, she paused. "Congratulations. You just handed me arson, fraud, conspiracy, and attempted homicide." Elena slid Charlotte's folder across the desk. "That's just the appetizer." Julia flipped through. Letters, receipts, falsified documents, the fake death certificate. Her eyebrows lifted. "Who the hell is Trevor Moss?" "Former HVAC tech," Marcus said. "No social worker credentials, no county employment. He filed Robert's death paperwork through a loophole. And how did he have access?" Sandra's voice was low. "He was hired. By whom?" Elena didn't blink. Desert Ridge, HOA. Specifically, Victoria Pierce. Julia leaned back and exhaled. "Well then, let's pay her a visit." Victoria didn't know we were coming. She stood at the front of the HOA clubhouse in that crimson blazer, black silk beneath, lecturing homeowners about responsibility when the double doors swung open. Julia walked in with 2 deputies. Victoria blinked, confused. Then she saw me. "You don't belong here," she hissed. Julia stepped forward. "Miss Pierce, this is a criminal investigation. We have questions. I don't have to answer anything. This is private business." "This entire resurrection tour is resurrection?" Julia raised an eyebrow. Victoria's hands fluttered. "He was declared deceased." "The paperwork is official." Elena stepped forward. "Yes, about that paperwork." Julia pulled out the drone footage still frame of Moss's face illuminated by fire, tattoo clear. This individual was caught burning a structure on Mr. Caldwell's land. The same individual who filed his death certificate. Victoria froze. The room rippled with tension. "That man Moss acted alone," Victoria stammered. "If he did anything illegal, I had nothing to do with it." Julia nodded slowly. "Interesting. Because your HOA transferred funds to his shell company 3 weeks before Mr. Caldwell's crash." Gasps. Victoria went pale. "That was maintenance. Your paperwork is wrong." Elena tilted her head. "Maintenance by a man with no license who signed a death certificate for a man who wasn't dead?" Victoria's lips trembled. She searched the room. Then she cracked. "It was Derek!" she screamed, pointing to the back. "He handled contractors. He hired that man. I told him not to!" A young man, Derek Pierce, her stepson, shot to his feet. "You liar! You promised me. You said if I got rid of the Caldwell problem, you'd protect me. You coached Moss yourself!" The room erupted. Elena whispered to me, "That's the ball game." Victoria staggered backward. Julia stepped forward. "Victoria Pierce, you are under arrest for conspiracy, fraud, environmental violations, falsified documents, and accessory to attempted murder," Victoria screamed. "This is my property. This lake belongs to me." "He was dead." I stepped forward. "He is very much alive." Victoria lunged. Deputies grabbed her. "Let me go. I built this community." Julia didn't blink. "And now you'll answer for how." They dragged her out, shrieking. Julia turned to me. "We'll seize everything. By the end of this, Robert," she looked me in the eye, "you're getting your land back. All of it." I nodded, didn't smile. Not yet, because Moss was still out there. But for the first time, he was the one running, and I was hunting. 4 days later, deputies found Moss sleeping in his truck behind an abandoned strip mall. Same tattoo, same crooked grin, same gasoline smell soaked into his clothes. He didn't resist, just looked up and laughed. Figured Caldwell would make it, tough bastard. When they brought him before the judge, he didn't look at the prosecutor or the sheriff. He looked at me. For the first time, I saw fear. He pled guilty before charges finished. Arson, fraud, tampering, conspiracy, attempted murder. Didn't ask for leniency. The judge didn't offer any, but his sentencing wasn't what everyone came for. That honor belonged to Victoria. The courthouse overflowed. People from the HOA sat pale and silent. Strangers lined the back wall just to see the woman who'd built an empire of lies. When they brought Victoria out, she wasn't polished anymore. Hair flat, face bare, hands shaking, but her eyes still burned with bitterness. The prosecutor laid out everything. Forged agreements, pressure on Charlotte, payments to Moss, fake death certificate, illegal construction, arson, stolen revenue, and the bronze plaque. In memory of Robert J. Caldwell, 1978 to 2023, people gasped when the photo appeared. Victoria rose to speak. Her voice trembled. "I did what I had to for the community. Judge Hartwell didn't raise his voice. Miss Pierce, what you built was not a community. It was an empire of manipulation. You exploited grief, weaponized bureaucracy, falsified death records, endangered human life, all behind a mask of public service." Victoria's lip shook. "You nearly destroyed a man," he continued, "and everyone who trusted you." He picked up the sentencing paper. "For these crimes, you are sentenced to 28 years in state prison. Parole eligibility no sooner than year 23. Victoria's knees buckled, and regarding Lake Caldwell, he added, turning to me, "All structures, claims, and modifications attributed to Desert Ridge HOA are null and void. Ownership is restored solely to Mr. Robert Caldwell." Relief, exhaustion, anger, victory, all crashing together. Charlotte grabbed my arm and squeezed. "It's over," she whispered. But it wasn't. Not until I went home. By morning, contractors were dismantling everything. Docks hauled up like extracting parasites. Rental huts smashed into dumpsters. The bathhouse, what remained, cleared so the land could heal. I asked them to leave it, just for an hour. I walked to the ash-covered ground. The smell hit me like a punch. There it stood, the bronze plaque, still bolted to charred wood. In memory of Robert J. Caldwell, Charlotte stood beside me. "You keeping it?" I shook my head. "No, I'm ending it." Marcus brought a sledgehammer. The first swing rang like a bell. The second bent metal. The third shattered it clean off. By the ninth, it was just twisted bronze scraps glittering in ash. Not anger anymore, just exhaling a year of pain. Sandra filmed it. For closure. We piled the shattered bronze with burnt scraps and lit a small fire. Flames curled upward, carrying Victoria's last insult into the sky. Charlotte slipped her arm through mine. "What now?" I looked at the water, finally mine again. Still, clean, waiting. Now I rebuild. Weeks later, I returned with a cedar sign I'd carved myself. I set it into the earth where the bathhouse once stood. Neighbors gathered, even the ones who doubted. The letters gleamed in afternoon sun. Below, carved deeper, "If you fake my death twice, I start charging rent." R. Caldwell. People laughed. Sandra wiped her eyes. Marcus clapped my shoulder. Charlotte hugged me tight. For the first time since that night a truck shoved me into darkness, I felt alive. Fully, absolutely, unquestionably alive. Home. Finally home. But 3 nights later, I found an envelope taped to my door. No name, no return address. Inside, a single sentence typed in courier font. He wasn't the only one watching. Below it, a blurry photo taken from the tree line. Me standing on my porch, date stamped yesterday, and in the corner, barely visible, the edge of a crimson sleeve. I stared at it as cold ran down my spine, because Victoria was in prison. Moss was in prison. So who was still watching? I looked toward the dark tree line. Nothing moved. But somewhere out there, someone was waiting. The war wasn't over. It was just beginning.